in a pharma industry, the knowledge plays a very vital role.
A good way to put it. On one side, you're talking about candidate engagement and AI becoming assistant to them. On the other side, on the talent development side of it, the skilling part of it, it's actually quickening the pace, which I think is one of the crux that you were trying to solve for, one of the core problems that you were trying to solve for with training.
These AI-driven platforms who simulate the scenario, real-life scenario on the simulator, so that we are able to downsizing our risk of errors, risk of material hazard, or any such type of risk, we are able to reduce it.
Hello, everybody. Thank you once again for joining us on the Hyreo Rise series of podcast. Today, I'm absolutely thrilled to have somebody who has had different roles, not essentially in the technology space, and that's what's going to make it very, very interesting today. I've got with me a very, very senior HR leader, Hitesh Desai. Hitesh comes from a solid, couple of decades in HR, talent acquisition, employer branding. He's worked in pharma, so he currently works for Sai Life. In the past, he has worked in finance like IDBI, Bharti AXA. He's worked with Wagri Bag. I'm sure you would be aware of the tea brand that we've seen in the past. Engineering companies like Shaili. A pleasure to have you, Hitesh, and lovely to talk to you about HR and HR technology and some of those strategies and tools that we are using from the perspective of today BFS and pharma. And would love to hear some of those pharma stuff because that's becoming very interesting in the Indian context of things. Welcome, Hitesh, to our podcast today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Arun. It has been a lovely introduction you have made. I must thank you for this. And I'm also thrilled equally for talking to you and talking to our people that it is going to be a learning for all of us.
I'm sure it's going to be a learning for us in the next 20-25 minutes or so. So let's dive quickly in. Excuse me, Hitesh. So first thing is, we've had a lot of HR leaders and practitioners who came from technology and semiconductor and GCC space. Your experience is split between BFS on one side, insurance on one side, and then you have pharma, which is a very different industry, very manufacturing intense, R&D intense industry. So let me start with asking this very, very simple question. When you transitioned and moved into pharma and into BFS from your earlier career, we know that the workforce is very different, the kind of talent is very different. What would you say was your biggest challenge, especially in attracting and getting this top talent in a very, different industry in a country like India?
So first, Arun, I would say you have pinched the point. I would say the things which I really expected, that is the question, and I was just sharing my recent, or I would say my experiences. Say both this industry like BFSI or pharma are a different ballgame together. When I talk about BFSI, it is a high attrition rate. If you call your bankers, every 6 months you will have a new relationship manager. So
right.
It is having a very high attrition rate, and to the tune of 30 to 40% on an average, I would say. And which would be, if you look at the insurance sector, it will go to the tune of 60% also sometimes, which I've seen. Wow. Whereas in case of pharma, attrition is of a less pain. The painful area would be talent shortage. Shortage of talent is such that it become global. The world become the village kind of. It is that short. How would I put it? The scarcity is hampering all ability to innovate the industry. It is hampering because we have all designed path to innovate. However, to walk on the path, the talent are really scared. And therefore, the vacancy rate is very high. I have a vacancy which is running since last 3, 4, 5 months also, because it's a very least talent. So putting into nutshell, BFSI is working on a high attrition rate, whereas pharmaceutical, it is working on a talent shortage. So these are the biggest challenge which I could see.
And if I was to kind of double click on that pharma use case specifically, now I know as an organization you operate in North America, you have it in Japan, you have it in other countries. So do you see this talent shortage or scarcity, if I may? Is it something that is a very subcontinent problem, or you see lack of, let's say, R&D folks in pharma, or production folks for pharma? Is it a common thread, or how do we sort of come to terms with this? Is it impacting or is it hurting business? How do you see this happening, especially in pharma?
I would perceive it is across the board, be it Japan or Asian model or America, or per se India, which is a hub for us. Equally intense problem, the scarcity of talent. And especially when it comes to R&D, yes, intensity is very high as compared to the production. Production still we are able to manage. However, R&D is really running shortage of talent.
And how do you then go about doing this? Because if you don't have right talent in R&D, and if you have shortage, is there anything that we really look at in terms of, let's say, training, looking at other mechanisms to, I don't know, identify people in lesser known geographies? How do you manage that?
Yeah, it is. I would say we are adopting a blend of approaches. Now of late we have started running literacy or a training program for our existing as well as a fresh talent. So earlier when we were looking at our campus to corporate model, which is now become the important model, and we are recruiting them and train as per the industry requirement, or for that matter, our company's requirement, so that actual people will be there to walk on the path. And the business remain as usual, although there will be a bumps, but to great extent, we'll be able to solve it. Having said that, also we have putting our best effort to putting a succession planning in place. Earlier also it was there, but of late with all other companies also, the succession planning, earlier it was in a leadership level only. Now the succession planning has started happening at every scale. So two aspects. One is enhancing literacy program through trainings, required trainings and theme-based training, and two, putting literacy program in place. If you look at Arun, even today also having such a big developed industry, there are close to 35 to 40% in the companies who are there who is the planned succession. They are lacking on a succession. So or with my experience, we have initiated in an early phase for a succession planning. That has started helping us since last 3 years.
Awesome. Lovely. I think then you're essentially saying that you're trying to plan better. You're trying to create talent from what's available, let's say from campuses, and train them and onboard them and slowly create a path where, scarcity means the talent is going to be in demand. So even if you have to replenish, you basically have a plan on the ground to do it. Great. So now in terms of planning, now let me take a step back and really ask you this question about, BFS being high volume.
Yeah.
Because there is attrition. Now, net new roles or not, it doesn't matter because you're seeing 40, 50, 60% attrition on that. And pharma, let's say, looks at, very niche skills, less hiring, no talent really available, etc. So if I was to sort of take your views on how HR technology is really helping both industries. Now, we know that there's been a disruption of HR, just like many other business functions using AI and technology in terms of, the actual business processes on the ground. Let's take, high volume BFS, for example, and, talking about scale. And on the other side, you're talking about very specialized, very niche, very difficult sort of positions to fill. How is HR technology helping? Is it benefiting? Is it really helping? And how do you see that for both industries?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I would say I have traveled from hell to heaven with this HR tech platforms or HR technology. If I'll take BFSI first, the rescue is from ATS, which is commonly known in HR field, ATS, application tracking system. That has made our job so easy. So the ATS does automate almost all the job of recruitment, be it posting a job or resume screening or say interview scheduling or significantly reducing administrative staff. You name it and it is there. It is there on my click of button. So that has reduced my so much of time that my entire team works on the strategic initiative of this talent. Otherwise, what was happening without ATS or without this HR tech platform? I mean, people were only behind the candidate or sourcing the candidate, and that was taking so much of time of them. Now they are putting their effort into strategy mode. Rest everything is being taken care by this ATS. When it comes to pharma, you might be surprised that is AI-driven recruitment platform, which is industry specific. If I'll take an example of Talent 500, this Talent 500 you will find only pharma-based niche talent. So we can also put in our focus over there. Industry specific this recruitment platform, like Locomet. It is industry specific. That is absolutely AI driven, one man army, and that is helping. And I would say, in one word, absolutely that is making our life easier. This HR tech.
Wow, that's good to know. And good to know that from these segments, you're seeing a lot more of AI adoption and some of those specific examples that you had. I might come to some of them later. But, when you're talking about volumes and when you're talking about, candidates who are coming and, you have a large inflow of candidates, do you think AI from an onboarding perspective, AI from a candidate experience perspective, candidate engagement perspective, works well in BFS, for example, or you see the adoption still very nascent, or has it picked up? What's your views on how BFS have looked at it from a volume perspective? We'll come to the pharma side, because large volume candidates, processes being broken in some form or shape here and there because of the volume that puts pressure on us. Do you see that becoming something that has really been enabled by AI in that sense?
Yeah. So I would put it this way: it has become more personalized, and candidate remain at their ease. The anxiety level of candidate, which was there in their mind, if I talk some 5 years back, what will happen? When will I join? Where will I get my offer letter? All this anxiety is being taken care by these chatbots and this virtual assistant. You just put in there your question, because we as an HR professional, we know what all questions are about to come, and that all questions are being fed into chatbot or their virtual assistant. On the click of candidates button, they are at ease. And that will give you the personalized attention about their inquiry, or this will offer their tailor-made solution kind of. I ask this, I will get answer for this only.
Perfect. Now, as somebody who builds something similar, where we have Copilots, which is helping recruiters and candidates in the journey, it's lovely to hear that that you kind of second that thought and think that agents can really help candidates throughout that journey. And do you see anything different in pharma when pharma companies adopting AI for the candidate side of the story, or what is your take on that?
There is a little difference, I would say, but yes, in a nutshell, it is helping. The help after onboarding, it is helping well in pharma industry. How I tell you? In a pharma industry, the knowledge plays a very vital role in particular job. These AI-driven platforms who simulate the scenario, real life scenario on the simulator, so that we are able to downsizing our risk of errors, risk of material hazard or any such type of risk, we are able to reduce it because they will be put in on the AI-driven simulator and on real-life scenario. So the chance of committing mistakes or an error would be very less. It has come down really well. That is one. And two, the skill development which is happening, the pace of skill development has become very fast because this AI-based learning platform has put candidate at his ease. When he's traveling from home to company or home to office, he just get into his mobile phone and get his skill. Right. What I'm going to do today, he will learn in this journey only. So that is also helping us in development of a skill, accelerating the skill development program.
Well, that's I think a good way to put it. On one side, you're talking about candidate engagement and AI becoming assistant to them. On the other side, on the talent development side of it, the skilling part of it, it's actually quickening the pace, which I think is one of the crux that you were trying to solve for, one of the core problems that you were trying to solve for with training. And if that I can't agree more. Of course, there's a lot more we could do on that, but I think that's a good start. And if pharma is adopting, great news on that. I'm just going to kind of double click on that same technology, if you don't mind, Hitesh. I'm just going to ask you this very simple question. When we had technology coming in, let's say 10 years back, there was a lot of focus on HR analytics. There was a lot of focus on making decisions based on data. HR was not at the forefront of doing that, like many other verticals or very other domains as well. But for sure, we were lacking behind in HR in terms of using data. How do you see this evolution? How do you see metrics, data, decisions tied around those metrics and data? Has this evolved in these industries? And what's your take on that?
I would say basic data will remain same. Of course, first and foremost is attrition data. We measure it in basis which we take certain decisions. Apart from that, if core recruitment, I would say it would be time to fill and cost per hire. With a higher initial cost of HR tech, over a period of time, we will be able to reduce the cost per hire. And that I'm very hopeful on this. Apart from these three metrics, that is attrition, time to fill, and cost per hire, with this AI, now we are able, to great extent, we are able to measure the engagement level of all our employees. And of course, our L&D metrics also we can measure. And importantly, of late, I could see this AI-driven platform has started giving us the predictive analysis. This is all this data, because nowadays there are the huge data which so fast this AI is converting into meaningful data, and it is giving us a predictive analysis. That is really awesome. I really appreciate this. I mean, to whom to thank such a thing, I don't know, but my thanks goes to them. That they are, but again, yeah, it is helping us.
Sure. Lovely to hear that. And if I was to, go down that path to the future, Hitesh, so essentially we're trying to compare two very, very different industries, BFS and, pharma. We're talking about HR technology, we're talking about AI, we're talking about predictive, we're talking about models that can help us, plan better or decide better using data. 2025 is the year of agents. You will see a lot of vertical agents, a lot of horizontal agents. HR is no different. There is going to be more and more that's going to be defined. Even older systems which used to take care of a lot of things could get converted into, agentic automation in that sense. So, how do you see, let's say, pharma adopting, or, some of the insurance companies adopting that? Is it for real, or are we going to go slow on that?
I would take the blend of it. I will divide two different industries with a different model on this. if I take BFSI first, it will personalize all training program. This HR tech will personalize all training program. And when it comes to pharma, although it is a very thin line, but pharma will work on a literacy program. With this HR tech or LMS or whatever you call. And must be to your surprise, there are a couple of companies, they have that, they have implemented their own AI-based system through which they are training their employees. I mean, without asking to any HR tech company, they have their own captive AI-based platform wherein they are training it. That way, they are making literacy program also and pacing their training program also. So my take would be, it will help industry for sure. 2, employee experience also it will help. And 3, industry will start gaining out of it in say late 25 or probably 26 onwards.
Wow, that's not too far away from here. That's one of the most.
I might sound little more hopeful. I don't know, but I have that hope.
No, Hitesh, I love the positivity. I love the hope. So I hope that there are more and more software that comes in, both in terms of upskilling people, training people, or in terms of getting employees connected better to the brands. So more power to anybody who's building AI for that segment. Now, if I was to pick your brain, I know you've handled L&D, you've handled talent acquisition, you've done branding efforts in the HR space. Now, if you were to be given a free hand, and if you were to choose, let's say, one area where I want technology to really impact, you could take BFS, you could take pharma, based on your experience across different pieces of HR. If you were to really go deep and implement a smart HR technology today, what's that going to be and why?
I don't have one. I have a couple of things.
Sure.
Which I'll not take much of your time, but definitely 2 to 3. One for sure is I will go for predictive workflow planning. As I mentioned you earlier, it has started giving me the predictive analysis. So I will do predictive workflow planning because that will help me, my company, and my team. So for sure that I will adopt if given the free hand. Number 2 is I will definitely adapt it for hyper-personalized training to my employees as well as my prospective employees. And 3, most importantly, this will automate all my compliance and risk management. So I will definitely go for it. In fact, I would say I have started working on this compliance management automated tool. I have tied up with some good company. And it is running fine till now, although it is less than a year, but which is running fine. It is giving me all compliance matter very nicely. So definitely I will go for these 3 portions: predictive analysis, predictive workforce planning, this personalized employee experience, and 3rd would be automating compliance and risk management.
Wow, that's objective and to the dot. You've even identified use cases and started working with AI companies on that. That's lovely to hear. And more importantly, what I feel is all the 3 points that you mentioned, I think is relevant for both BFS and pharma. And if I was to put in whatever little knowledge that I have, I think this could be something that could be applicable generally for HR as well. Employee experience is critical, upskilling is critical, compliance. I know given your industry, that's a very, very critical factor, but I'm pretty sure there are industries where, that becomes crucial from an employee standpoint as well, right? So we kind of started off with, the differences, then we moved into technology, we moved into AI, we moved into preferences of where you would want to invest today in terms of AI in there. But I'm going to ask this last question, straight to the HR person, that who you are, to the heart of everything. I think you are an HR person and less of any of the analytics and AI. For any aspiring HR professional, anybody who wants to pick it up as a career, as a HR person, In today's changed world, in today's changed context of what an HR means to an organization, what's your advice and what would you want them to be focused on in terms of building a career in HR?
I would say to the aspirant or the fresh talent, develop a tech-savvy mind. Try and accept before entering into the professional world. Emphasize on knowledge, preferably compliance knowledge. Master the hiring strategy with this AI tool like ATS, or it may be anything. So master the hiring strategy. There are all simulators available in the market, and stay ahead of talent retention, because when it comes to pharma, retaining talent would be the task. Because as I told you that we are running shortage of talent. So put an effort in talent retention. Having said that, don't lose the human touch while adopting this all AI or HR tech, because only HR tech will not work, only human touch will not work. You should have a right blend of it. So keep your human touch intact and adapt the AI.
Be human first, but don't let AI go.
Yes. You have rightly put in. Very well put in.
Right. I think that kind of puts a nice summary to our conversation as well, Hitesh. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. It's lovely understanding some of those nuances of talent and talent acquisition and retention in pharma and some of those industries. I know as a company, you're doing extremely well as an organization. We wish you all the very best in all those new initiatives. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Arun. It has been lovely talking to you, and I hope I could make a justice to our conversation, and really I learned a lot. It has been a pleasure talking to you.
Same here. Thank you so much, Hitesh.
Thank you so much.